I'd like to call on Commissioner Mike Mesmore to lead us in an invocation, please.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Oh, dear God, save thy people and bless thine inheritance, and grant victory to your people over their adversaries. Please look upon us and let the COVID pass our society, our country, and the world. Please look after the sick, the suffering, those in prison, those held captive, the travelers, whether by land or air or sea, and have mercy on us all. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our meeting. We're glad to have you here tonight. And the first item of business is citizen communication.
Mayor, we have 6 individuals that would like to speak. The first one is Ron Lozano, 2410 Riverside Drive, and it's regarding the redistricting, and I believe he's here.
Good afternoon. This is one of the few times y'all will impact a fundamental right, and I'm hopeful you realize that voting is sacred to a democracy. Soon, Chris Boswell will vote for himself, as he has in the past muni elections. Don't believe Chris when he contends his neighborhood will be disenfranchised. Now, he may not partake in 3 proposals in front of every duly registered Harlingen voter, but likely he'll vote in the upcoming election. So statements captured on YouTube memorialization of the last 3 meetings from him were and are false. Remember, if registered and a citizen, you can vote commencing in April, earlier if on overseas military duty. So that's coming up right away. In fact, Remy's here to tell you that on the day of love, he's going to want to start an election himself. Tudor may have paid, but Chris asked the attorney to nullify our District 3, 4, and 5 votes in May and June and force everyone to run this spring, though our city charter nor our state constitution authorize that. He has to suffer Mesmore a little bit more. He's tone deaf to what is a radical proposal and unwilling this one time to accept the constitutional directive of a decimal census and corresponding duties unleashed. It's one thing to be disgruntled, but to be reduced to a lying radical with an unauthorized agenda is oppressively disregarding the will of the voters. You're a clueless, sore loser on what people of goodwill regard as voter suppression. Thank you.
Next.
The next one, Mayor, I have Raymond Reyes, 706 Tucker Drive, revitalization.
He's coming up the steps right now.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, Commissioners, Raymond Reyes, 706 Nantucket Drive, obviously here in Harlingen. Basically, just wanted to speak out a little bit about revitalization of Harlingen. It's always good to go in a new direction. I'm not too certain about this plan thing that's going on about redistricting the lines. I don't know too much about that. I personally have my own staff, just like you guys have staff. I have staff too. And they're looking into all this stuff. Now I'm retired now, so I'm going to be here a lot more than I used to be. And there's a lot of things that are going on that, to some instances, is a little bit concerning, but it's nothing that certainly can't be corrected with the correct oversight. As long as we keep making forward progress in a positive way, I think it's a good thing for the city of Harlingen and the citizens of Harlingen, which I believe that everybody that's currently sitting in the commissioner seats, I hope, would agree with that and stuff. Sometimes there's things that not everybody agrees on, but we always have to keep in mind it's for the better good of the city and, more importantly, for the citizens of Harlingen. And nobody should have any animosity if changes occur that nobody likes. As long as they're positive changes, I think that we can keep moving forward, because we certainly don't want to start with the big matzo ball and keep, doing things the wrong way. We want to make sure we do things the right way. So that's basically all that I have. I myself am working on some projects to bring some exciting stuff to Harlingen, including an art gallery, which we're talking with some artists from New York, Los Angeles, and other parts of the country. And hopefully, sooner than later, that will be up and running. So with that, I just want to let, my blessings to Harlingen, and that everything keeps moving forward from San Antonio, but this is now my,
Your
I
2
guess, my
minutes
new
are up.
home. So thank you very much for your time, commissioners, mayor. You all have a good evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Reyes.
The next one, Mayor, is Mr. Omar Villarreal, 220 Seagull Lane. I don't know if he's in the audience. Okay, let me go ahead and give him a call.
You may want to call them. You may want to call them.
No? Okay, let's see, where's this one? Hello, Mr. Villarreal. This is Amanda Elizondo with the City of Harlingen, and you filed a citizens communication form. You have 2 minutes, so I'm going to start the clock right now. And if you go over the 2 minutes, I will let you know, okay? You may start now.
Wait one speaker.
While both Plan A and C move thousands of voters to a new district, for some reason only Plan C has been labeled with voter suppression. Because one side is screaming voter suppression, redistricting has become a divisive wedge issue in our community. In this politically charged instance, to whom are we to turn to for impartiality? Who can render a just, impartial decision on this matter? Thanks to ex-city commissioners Horn and Meade, we have our answer. These ex-officials took their baseless claims of voter suppression to the Texas Supreme Court, and before the ink was even dry, these impartial justices threw out their frivolous claims of voter suppression. So as both sides make their cases today and tomorrow, please remember the impartial and just decision of the Texas Supreme Court. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
All right, thank you.
Go down.
Okay, let's see. The next one is Robert Lethwich, and I believe he's in the audience, Mayor.
Robert Lethwich, 909 East Parkwood. I just wanted to speak on the voter suppression. I think that it's disingenuous, Mayor. It really is that you bring this up, that you and Mr. Uhorn and Mr. Meade bring up voter suppression when we've had decades of voter suppression from you and those people that support you. The fact is that nobody in the city of Harlingen has been able to vote on a capital improvement expenditure since you've been mayor for 16 years. And the result of that is a failed policy. We've got a over-budget, behind-schedule event center that who knows what kind of a loss that has annually, because I haven't seen a big event in there fill up any hotels, even after COVID. The fact is that we didn't get the vote for that convention center, so that $20 million, which could have been spent on drainage and prevent neighborhoods, literally thousands of neighborhoods from flooding houses, even in Mr. Mesmer's district in Treasure Hills. I've seen pictures where there's the rivers in Treasure Hills. It's right there next to the Arroyo. Those neighborhoods should be flowing. Let's talk about some more voter suppression. The fact is, this has an economic component. The Port of Harlingen. Y'all sit there and y'all won't let the citizens of Harlingen vote to whether the port can tax the community. You've got local taxpayer money going to subsidize multi-international oil companies with local taxpayer money. And I understand, Mayor Boswell, that First Community Bank and Texas Regional Bank have loans to those people. Well, how convenient it is that they have loans to those people doing business at the Port of Harlingen, and y'all happen to offer up local taxpayers to help subsidize their operations. So in terms of voter suppression, we've been enduring this for a long time. So I find it very disingenuous
Your 2
that
minutes
y'all
are
are
up.
bringing it up now.
Thank you, Mr. Leftwich.
The next one is Delia Cavazos Gomez, 1806 North Flamingo Lane, and I believe she's downstairs.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm here to talk to you about communication amongst each other. I'll wait.
He wants you to state your residence address, please.
Good point. Good point. My name is Delia Cavazos Gomez, 1806 North Flamingo Lane, Harlingen, Texas. I'd like to start with that point. From previous meetings in the past, we have been allowed to just say district. And I don't believe that that has been consistent with everybody. Just like right now I was made to say my address, we need to make everybody else do it as well. I've been seeing some inconsistencies amongst commissioners with not just those kind of things. Some of the things that people cannot see if you're watching on YouTube, or if you ask for the minutes or you watch this later, is that there's a lot of things that are done and said, or that minutes or videos will not be showing. For instance, I can tell you now, the camera's probably on me, but what I'm seeing right now, or what you didn't see right now, is that a commissioner voiced something to the mayor, and that's okay. But it happens during the meetings as well. I'm not going to ask you, Mayor, to get a gavel. You have a microphone. Or the commissioners, please turn them on, because some of us can't hear that, whether it be me or my parents or neighbors. Whether we agree or disagree on things, I'm being respectful. Please do the same for most of us. As far as what other constituents say, not always do they speak for me. I can do this. I can come up here and I don't have anything written. Nobody's writing anything for me. I speak for myself. I constantly tell people, you can do this for yourself. You don't have to do this. I don't have to take it to social media so that I can get a bravo or a hoorah for anybody. I can do this for myself. So I tell everybody else, you can do this too. I really would like the respect from somebody who comes to attend the meetings. I constantly get asked, what do you do for the city? Nothing. I'm a constituent that I'm concerned. Please do the same. I respect that you do. I would respectfully ask that you do the same for us, not just me, for everybody else who I'm here for tonight that couldn't be here tonight. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Cavazos Gomez.
The next one, Mayor, is Desi Martinez, 1806 Hayford Boulevard, and it's on the redistricting.
Hi, how are you? Desi Martinez, 1806 Haverford Boulevard. My great-grandpa was born in this area in 1840 when it was, Texas was still the Republic of Texas. My grandpa, I still have his draft card, and my dad's grandpa from World War I and World War II. We have all had sacrifices to come to this, what we call our union, and working together. You know, it's when I didn't read the paper, I saw the headlines. I was very disappointed. Valley Morning Star started mudslinging. You know, we all elect you all, whether we don't vote for you or not. The community elects you. Today's importance is our redistricting. Happens every 10 years. We may not like how it works out, but I have heard the shouts. And you all have heard the shouts or the crying of the lady from Little Creek. They came here, their home was flooding. Of the gentleman that his home was flooding by the police station 4 times in the last 16, 19, 2016, 19, etc., and other storms. From the people going up the street down on 77, secluded acres, from downtown that still has the sandbags in their doorways. You know, we need redistricting. And these people in that area is that district that has two that needs attention. It is dilapidating, and I agree with Mr. Reyes. Gentleman entrepreneur, as myself, I agree with him. We need to stop the mudslinging, make this thing happen, and move forward. Now the people will have an opportunity
Your
for
2 minutes
District
are
2 and representation. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Mr. Martinez.
That's it.
Okay, that concludes our citizen communication for this evening. Item 1 is recognition to the Harlingen Vital Statistics Department recipient of the 2021 Exemplary 5-Star Award. So, you know who you are. Come on up. Josh, Ramirez, Diana Vargas, Amy de la Fuente, Crystal Ortiz. Come on up.
Right here.
So, this certificate is presented to our health department from Texas Department of State Health Services. The 2021 exemplary, this certificate is presented to the City of Harlingen for excellence in the vital statistics registration process, December 9, 2021. Thanks for going above and beyond to register your records and ensure excellent customer services, security, and data quality in Texas. From Tara Das, the Texas State Registrar. So I want to tell you all a little bit more about this recognition. And out of nearly 300 local registrars in Texas, only 96 cities acquired the exemplary award, making this the 22nd year in a row. And the 5-Star Exemplary Awards acknowledge the vital statistics officers who understand the importance of vital statistics and the impact on the citizens of Texas. This award honors vital statistics officers who go above and beyond the duties of birth and death registration. So, well, first of all, congratulations on the award. What a great honor that you brought to the City of Harlingen by earning this award and this recognition when so few other cities earn it. But I just want to say a few other things about this. You know, people don't probably think much about, most people probably don't think much about the registrar's office. But when you need a birth certificate or you need a death certificate, those can be vitally important times in people's lives. For them to be able to travel, to get a passport, to settle estates, to do many, many things that are vitally important in individuals' lives. You all are there to help them achieve that and accomplish that. So we take this, one of those services that the City of Harlingen provides. It's often taken for granted, but it's super, super important, and it really makes a difference in the lives of the individuals. And you all do such a great job at it. I know I recognized you all at the State of the City address, but I want to do it again for really stepping up to the plate during the pandemic and cooperating so well with our county to provide information that they needed to be able to track what was happening in our communities from the virus in the early stages when we just didn't know. And time again, Harlingen was singled out as one of the only departments in the county really that was helping the county health department do their jobs by providing the information that they needed. So I want to thank you again on behalf of everyone in the community and the city for doing what you do. Congratulations. It's all well deserved. Anna, all your team, Josh, you've done such a great job. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor.
Would you like to say anything?
We do it with a lot of pride. You know, it does take a lot, like right now with COVID. We do daily counts. The staff does an awesome job keeping the counts, and we continue to keep the county notified of anything that's going on. But, I mean, it's our passion. It's an awesome project.
All right, well, we're proud of you, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
So you know now.
All right, item 2 is the approval of the regular city commission meeting minutes of September 15th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Mayor, before we go on, may I ask our attorney a question?
Yes.
Okay. Today's newspaper, you read it?
I have.
Okay. I asked you and Gabe, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, when the Freedom of Information Act info was passed to me, if you would look into this. Have you looked into this?
Is this issue on the agenda, Mayor?
If you want legal advice from counsel, I'll be happy to give it to you in the commission and executive session.
Okay. Then you want to go to executive session?
No, Mayor, point, I'd like to make a point of order.
You're out of order. And what's the relevance of your question?
What I'm getting to is the city charter states that a city commissioner shall not be interested in the profits or emoluments of any contract.
Mayor, point of order.
That's not on the agenda, but if you want to ask me a question dealing with the ability of a commissioner to vote at today's meeting.
Yes, I
We can do
do.
that in executive session.
Okay, I'll make a move. We go into executive session.
No, this is, Mayor, point of order. This is not on the agenda, so we need to stick with the agenda.
Well, it is if Uribe's votes are illegal.
No, it's not, Michael.
Commissioner, I've researched the question, and I've answered the question, and I can answer the question.
No, I
just
agree.
prefer to do it in executive
Right,
session.
and I agree, but there is no, this is not on the agenda, and it can be discussed later
Well,
when we go into
that may
agenda.
not be there's no specific agenda item, but I think what Commissioner Mesmer is doing is he's calling into question the ability of Commissioner Uribe to vote on anything if he has forfeited his office. Is that what your point is?
Yes.
Right, and like I said, I'm prepared to answer that question in executive
Okay,
session.
so I move we go into executive session.
All right. Is there a second? All right. Well, there's no.
Well, then let the public know that nobody on this city commission other than me actually cares that an illegal act is being done, and his votes are all null and void, as is his presence since October.
Commissioner, I'm be happy to go into detail with you in executive session or outside the meeting,
Right?
but there is nothing that prohibits the commissioner from being here and voting today. If I was aware of that, I would let the commission know.
Mike, if this is that important to you, then feel free to put it on the, or request to put it on the agenda, and we'll discuss it in the next meeting. But right now, we need to go on to other business.
Well, that can certainly be done, but but the point is well taken that if anyone is disqualified from voting on a matter, it's going to affect the outcome of this vote and maybe on any item on the agenda, and it has affected the vote for prior items on the agenda.
That's why I have no objection to going into
Okay.
executive
Well,
session, to letting you know what my opinion is.
The commission doesn't want to hear your opinion, then I guess they don't want to hear your opinion.
We don't want to hear the opinion because we already know the answer. So it's irrelevant. It's pure politics that Commissioner Mesmer is doing. And honestly, I think the people of Harlingen deserve better than just these political theater that you want to do.
It is an important point. I think it's something that people are interested in. If the commission does not want to hear Mr. Saucy's opinion, then we'll go on with
No,
the
we are more
agenda.
than-
Item
We do want to
three,
hear it. We
item-
do want to hear it in the future, Mayor. And again, I'm going to call point of order. You're out of, this is all out of order.
If we're not going to go into executive session and hear it, then we're going to continue with the agenda.
We shouldn't even be having this discussion, Mayor.
Your comments are out of order as
No
well.
point of order.
Item
Mesmer was
three-
allowed to speak,
item
and I'm going to
three
count
is-
out the
All right.
point of order.
You just said
Let it be
there's-
said on the record.
Item 3, consent agenda. Items A through C. Is there a motion to adopt the
So moved.
consent agenda?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 4, consideration and possible action to rescind the approval of the resolution adopting realigned single-member district boundaries for the city of Harlingen based on the 2020 U.S. Census as adopted Plan C on January 5th, 2022, and to adopt alternate realigned single-member district boundaries based on the 2020 U.S. Census. Is there a motion to rescind the approval of the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second? All right, there being no second, the motion dies. Item 5, discussion, public hearing, first reading, and possible action on the City of Harlingen ordinance and ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Harlingen, Texas, approving the redistricting of the city's single-member council districts and establishing new districts and boundary lines based on 2020 census data for Harlingen City Commission elections, amending Article 4, Section 3, Harlingen City Code of Ordinances, repealing conflicting ordinances and resolutions, providing for a clause, and providing for an effective date.
Mayor, at the last meeting, the city designated Plan C as the redistricting map of the city of Harlingen. It's the first time in 13 years the city has had new maps. In the interest of encouraging voter participation, getting the information out there, I thought it would be better to codify that in the ordinances so anybody could go on, look on the ordinances, and see where the map was. Which map you gentlemen decide to adopt was up to you, right? But the City Commission having adopted a map, I think it would be preferable in terms of public access for the public to have access to that map and to be able to look it up in the Code of Ordinances so they know if they want to run as a candidate or so they know where to vote in terms of which precinct. That's simply my reason in doing it.
All right. In the past, this has been done simply
by resolution.
By resolution.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And it was actually done on 2 occasions, in 2008 and then again in 2012, I believe.
Yes.
And I received 2 resolutions. I got.
It has never been before by ordinance, but it can be done by ordinance,
All right.
and I think it's preferable.
So do you need a motion or?
I
Yes.
have a question, though. I'm sorry. I have a question. Since it's already been adopted because we did the resolution, correct?
It's adopted by resolution.
So it's already there. It's already in the books.
This is simply for the public's knowledge, so people can look online and see where they vote and see where they can run from office.
Okay. Then I motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mayor, this has a public hearing component to it.
Public hearing, first reading and possible action. So I'll go to the public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Does anyone like to speak for or against this ordinance? Mr. Leftwich?
I just wanted to say that I think this is what needs to happen. But I just wanted to kind of pull a Mr. Mesmer. We understand that you stole $100,000 from one of your financial clients.
Do you want to be my
I just
attorney?
wanted to know what your settlement was on that. And maybe you're not qualified.
It's a public hearing to discuss
Okay,
the
I
ordinance.
apologize. I just wanted to say that I support the city attorney's effort in this. Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to speak for or is there anyone who would like to speak for or against the ordinance?
I do believe that what the attorney said, that all he's attempting to help is the citizenry that are duly registered to go ahead and look at the map so they'll know where to go. And it's hard to avoid because the attorney from Brenham, Andy Taylor, indicated there was no exactness, even though he had a full week. Sometimes he'd say 3,800 votes, sometimes 3,820. He couldn't check in a week 20 votes. So if you put this online, since all the figures across the world, and particularly our nation, show that elderly people vote in heavier numbers than the rest of the electorate, they can look at it online without having to go out in the kind of weather we're going to have the next couple of days. Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else like to speak for or against the ordinance? Is there anyone? All right, hearing no one, I'll close the public hearing. We have I think we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, I am going to kind of reiterate that, as I've stated before, that I think that Plan C is very unfair to almost 3,800 residents in the city of Harlingen who will be deprived of voting in a city election this year. And they were cycled and slated to be able to vote for a District 2 commissioner, now will not be able to do that. In addition, other members of the community serving in living in District 4 will actually be able to vote for a second commissioner. They voted last year for the commissioner in District 4. Now, a certain segment of the population in District 4 being moved into District 2 will now get to vote for another city commissioner. So they'll have gotten to vote for two different city commissioners in the span of a one-year period of time, where other residents of our community will not have been able to vote for a commissioner for a period of 5 years, not even one, but much less two. Now, if you don't want to call that voter suppression, you don't have to call it voter suppression. You don't want to call it disenfranchisement, you don't have to call it that. But you can certainly call it unfair. And it's not fair to the residents who are expecting to be able to vote in this next election, when, in fact, we could have met the constitutional requirements by simply shifting residents from District 5 into District 4, who would have been on the same voting cycle, and because they both 4 and 5 voted for their commissioner in 2021, no one would have missed out on getting to vote. So we are in the week of Martin Luther King, celebrating his life. We are doing something that is so violative of things that he stood for and fought for, and that's to give everybody a voice. And here we're certainly taking away people's voices to be heard in an election. And I think, again, that is wrong and it's unfair. And you're going to win the argument, I understand that, but the city of Harlingen is going to lose. Citizens are going to lose their right to vote in this election. Citizens are going to lose their confidence and their trust in their leadership here in the city of Harlingen. And we're certainly going to lose the reputation of being fair and impartial and generous with our citizens. The adoption of this ordinance and the adoption of this map does not take into account what's in the best interests for the residents of our communities. So again, I ask you not to pass this ordinance or to pass an ordinance which would adopt a different plan, which would not strip the rights of the voters in District 2 from being able to vote in their election this year. Is there any other discussion?
Yes. First, when you say that the people from District 4 or District 5 that would move to District 4, if you're going to mention that those 4,000 people that would also be moved from District 5 to 4, they did vote, yes, you're correct, but now they would be represented against a commissioner they did not vote for. So in essence, that they really vote because the person they voted for is not the one that's going to be representing them. So that little thing you're saying doesn't make sense. It seems disingenuous. And you're here saying, oh, we're not going to call it disenfranchisement, or I can't pronounce it, I'm having a thing. When you're basically voter suppression, you're saying all these things, and it's not in the best interests of the community. But for the past 20 years, you and the former commissioners have supported the real voter suppression against the real working men and women of Harlingen. I've told you about this before, Mayor. When you have your early voting from 8 to 5, where you yourself in the workshop stated that it was all right for our hardworking citizens of Harlingen to choose between voting or eating during a workday, to you, that's okay. I don't understand. That's what I call voter suppression, when people have to choose between work or voting. That's what I call voter suppression. And you've been doing that for the past 16 years. You've supported that for the past 16 years as mayor. And I believe you were city commissioner for, did you start in 1998? So over 20 years, that's what you've been doing. and with the help of your other commissioners. So it seems to me that you're kind of biased in a way because you're okay with, in Plan A, with the people that were in District 5 not being represented by the people that they voted for, because, I mean, you're okay with that. But all of a sudden, when it comes to Plan C, where you're going to have people that, let me correct that, they are going to be able to vote. They will not vote for city commissioner, because you always say that. Oh, they're not going to get to vote, because you're trying to basically imply that they're not voting at all. They are voting for you or for mayor. They'll be able to vote for mayor. They will be able to vote for the charter amendments that we're putting on the ballot. Will they be able to vote for city commissioner? No, they will not. But they will be represented by the great Mike Mesmar right there in District 3, just like you would have it in the Plan A, where you would have them represented by someone they did not vote for. So that seems very, very disingenuous. You just pick your wording to basically kind of push your argument, but it's not really a good argument, because when it comes down to it, for the past 20 years, you have suppressed the vote. 8 to 5, 8 to 5. What about the working men and women of Harlingen? Me as a teacher, I get a 30-minute lunch. I cannot make it to come and vote from 8 to 5. I can't. Okay, by the time I get done about 4 or 5 and have students tutoring, I can't make it. So, I mean, and that's just me. There's all these other thousands of people. And you keep saying 3,800. First it started at 1,000, then it's 3,000, 3,800. You were saying 4,000 in the paper. And it's just frustrating how you just keep on bringing up the numbers. I understand it's an election year and you want to, want to get the base going and stuff like that. But, I mean, I just ask you to be honest. That's what I'm saying. It's not voter suppression. Each and every single one of these maps cause disruption. Each and every single one of them. Each and every single one. But it just seems to me that you care more about Plan C, because Plan C disrupts your close friends and your campaign donors. They're getting disrupted, so those are the ones that you care about. But the people in District 5, you didn't care that they were going to be represented by somebody else. So it's like you're picking. So I think that's unfair. And I think when you make these little pleas about voter suppression and all that, you're wrong. And then everything that we've tried to do to encourage voting, you've been against. Moving the elections from May to November. Remy himself, it will be on Zoom, he himself stated that if we move it to November, that would increase voter turnout. You were against that, okay? We're trying to, not only that, I mean, everything. Just bringing it to county. You're against bringing the elections to county. You wanted to keep it in the city. We have here in the city, during my election in May, we had, don't get me wrong, Amanda was doing a great job with the election, but look at the equipment she was working with. Some of the volunteers, they were having to look through books and stuff like that, trying to find people's addresses and stuff. So here in the city, we had the old stuff that we were using, and that was causing delays, long lines, and that was discouraging people from voting. I would be outside seeing people like waiting in line, like, oh man, I'm just going to leave, okay, and they wouldn't vote. And we only had one polling place during early voting. I mean, come on. You're being super, super disingenuous when you say that. And I find it very frustrating. And I understand, like I said, I understand it's an election year, and that's what's on the ballot, right? Not on the ballot, but that's what everybody's thinking about right now. But don't ever say that we're voter suppression, because it's not. Because when we actually do the voting for May, you're going to see that we're going to expand the hours as much as possible, because we want people to vote. We're going to get as many polling places as possible, because we want people to vote. That's what we want. Because the only time change really happens is when people speak. And when you're saying 3,800, the last election, and I believe in 2019, had 561 people voted. In the last election you had in 2019, I believe that was citywide. And citywide, you had about give or take about 2,000 votes, and the other guy had about 800 votes. So in the whole election, we had 3,000. Okay, so you're talking about 3,000 making the decision for, what's our population, 71,000? That's voter suppression. That is true voter suppression to me. What we're going to do, or I hope we're going to do, by opening up the polls, letting the people vote, that is the opposite of what you're saying. And the Plan C, everything causes disruption. It does, and you know that, but it's an election year, I understand.
May the great Mike Mesmar speak?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir, for calling me great. It's taken you many months, but I finally appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Don't forget handsome.
I do forget handsome. The state dictates the hours of voting, and Amanda had many days during election, where the polls close at 8 p.m. Is that correct, Amanda?
Yes.
2 days, correct, Amanda? Only 2 days?
2 days.
Only.
Yes,
So there are times.
Okay, please don't interrupt each other.
You're right. I apologize.
Please try to refrain
I'm sorry.
from interrupting.
Do you know Robert Rules of Order?
Do you?
Yeah, I do. So please don't interrupt. So that Amanda has followed the state laws, and Amanda has shifted time elections until 8 p.m. And so there's plenty of opportunity for people who want to vote.
I just want to correct something. if I may.
Well, I
Amanda,
was gonna ask
you did
for
an
it.
excellent job. I'm not at you at all. You did an excellent job when you were awesome. Even to this day, everything I've ever brought to you, you've been awesome and incredible. We're lucky to have you. So do not think I'm talking about the decisions that were made here before I got here.
Is there any other discussion?
Yes, just one point that the term voter suppression, I feel it's offensive, especially when we're doing and voting and agreeing on these maps that are constitutionally legal. And I'd rather call it voter expansion, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people involved, more people to come out and vote. And just like Rini said, the numbers were dismal in the last election. This will give an opportunity for the public to come out and speak their voice and make the right choice. So just think of it as voter expansion. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to help the community. This has nothing to do with politics. We're just trying to make it right. And again, I'm going to repeat this, and I always say this. When I make a decision, I always ask myself two things. Is this the right thing to do, and is it going to benefit the citizens of Harlingen? And the answer is yes to both of those statements. Thank you.
Well, I haven't heard one person yet in District 2 who's not going to get to vote this year say this was the right thing for me. Everybody that I have talked to is very upset about it and does not think this is a great decision. Having said that, I am going to say that you can make these charges that I have engaged in voter suppression, which are completely untrue. And if there's anything that I have encouraged people to do throughout my time as an elected official here in the city of Harlingen, that's to vote, to get out and vote. I want everybody to use their franchise. I want everybody to get out and vote. And I'm going to continue to tell people to get out and vote. Every time you run for an election, you say, we want everybody to get out and vote. We don't want people to not to vote. But the final thing I'll say is simply that if you do believe that there has been voter suppression in the past, two wrongs don't make a right. And so going forward with this plan, where you cut out people's right to vote in the 2022 election, and you tell them they're not going to get to vote until 2024, you are telling them that it's not, their vote is not important, that we don't need your vote this year. You can skip a vote a year, 2 years, that's okay. And so two wrongs don't make a right. We're not going to achieve the lofty goals that you want to achieve if we trample the rights of people, and just as we're doing with this action that you're taking tonight. All right, is there any other discussion?
I respectfully disagree with what you state.
May I speak? Point of order, Frank. Morales back over here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I said, is there any other discussion? So you have anything to say?
Yes, I do. I want to backtrack to the commission of 2011.
They ended up selecting and passed the resolution R1148, which basically gave the citizens the right to vote in November. An election was held on November 6, 2012. That was for District 3, District 4, and District 5. At that election, 8,134 people voted. Then come December 31st, there was that meeting, right, New Year's Eve, where that resolution was rescinded. I unfortunately don't have a copy in front of me to read what you spoke and said, Mr. Mayor, but you requested and you got a unanimous vote selection on rescinding that particular resolution.
How does I think we've really gotten off topic now, because we're really not talking about the ordinance that's before you.
This is what I'm getting to. All right? It went from November to May. In May, where it was a mayor's race, District 1, District 2, from 8,134 votes, it dropped down to 6,176 votes. And then the election for 2015, which is 3 years from the November election, you had a grand total of 865 votes. And it just kept on going downhill. District 2, in 2013, had 814 people vote. In 2016, it had about 665 people vote. In 2019, it had about 545 votes. You're looking at an average on the last 3 elections of 642 votes. So if the public decides to accept this is part of the redistricting. Everybody's saying it's 1,000, it's 2,000, it's 3,800, it's 4,000 people that are not going to be able to vote. I disagree. But these are my numbers that I've been able to see and retrieve from past minutes. That's all I have for right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Is there anyone else who'd like to, is there any other discussion on this item? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign.
Opposed, but I am calling to question for the attorney. There was no motion made of which plan. Mr. Pettis.
The motion that was made as to the plan was made at the time the resolution was adopted.
Oh, so we're voting on the resolution.
No. The plan was adopted, Commissioner, when
Through
the
the
City
resolution.
Commission designated the plan through resolution.
Okay.
The ordinance states, identifies, basically codifies what the plan was, and I think there should be an exhibit if there refers to Plan C.
There's nothing in there to say which plan. Can you read the caption?
I'm reading the caption, but I thought the ordinance itself states identifies the plan as an exhibit. If you read the actual ordinance, not the caption of.
Can you read it out loud to us? Item number 5.
Yeah, I told you, it doesn't state it there. It states the actual identification of the map. I mean, obviously, it's not going to contain a map. The actual ordinance and the map is contained in the
Could you
ordinance.
please read item number 5 to
Yes,
the public?
discussion, public hearing, first reading of possible action on the City of Harlingen ordinance, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Harlingen approving the redistricting of the city's single-member districts, which the city has already done, and establishing new districts, boundary lines based on the 2020 census data for the Harlingen City Commission elections, amending Article 4, Section 3, Harlingen C Code of Ordinances, repealing conflicting ordinances and resolutions, providing for a clause, and providing for an effective date.
But it doesn't say which plan.
The ordinance that's attached, that is not the ordinance, that's the heading. The ordinance that's attached in your packet does identify the plan and includes the map.
Okay. Just letting the public know.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Item 6 is consideration of possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading, amending sections of the Harlingen Code of Ordinances, Chapter 6, Article 4, Animal Control Division 1, generally Section 6-117, definitions, adding community cat, Section 6-168, proof of vaccination required for issuance, removing Section 6-119, keeping nuisance animals, amending Section 6-202, procedure for impoundment, amending Section 6-204, destruction of unredeemed certain animals to be released only to keeper. C, removing Section 6-205, city ownership of dogs and other animals following impoundment or holding period, and adding Chapter 33, community cat program. This item was tabled at the regular City Commission meeting on January 5th, 2022, so we'll need a motion to remove this item from the table.
Motion to remove from table.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? All right, now, Josh, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. This item before you, we're trying to implement a community cat program. And by addressing all these amendments, it would address certain regulations that will hinder the adoption of a community cat program. This is an ordinance we're working with the Humane Society, I'm going to have Luis come over and give you a little briefing of how this program is going to work in our community, and has been very effective in other communities, and we want to just continue the same benefit that our citizens will receive by adopting this program.
Yes, briefly, what this is addressing the overpopulation of strays at its source, which is spaying and neutering, and that's what we've been doing for, well, community members have been doing for years, and that's what we want to continue. We want to subtract future cats from the population. It's not adding cats to the population, it's merely returning cats to where they are already thriving, and it is they're sterilized, they're vaccinated, and they're monitored by the people who are already caring for them. So what this boils down to is merely just trying to reduce the overpopulation problem in a humane fashion, and it's something that's been modeled in McAllen, Edinburgh, all over Hidalgo County, Harris County, San Antonio, Austin, and it's something that's going to be really helpful. That's what it boils down to, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that anybody may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything further on the ordinance? Does anybody have any questions? Okay, the city attorney, do you need to read anything further? You need to read the caption again.
I have an amended caption. Consideration of possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading, amending Harlingen City Code, Chapter 6, Article 4, Animal Control, Division 1, generally Section 6-117, definitions, amending Section 6-145, vaccination for rabies, amending Section 6-146, running at large prohibited, exceptions, amending Section 6-168, proof of vaccination required for issuance, amending Section 6-202, procedure for impoundment, amending Section 6-202, destruction of unredeemed animal, certain animals to be released only to keeper, removing Section 6-205, city ownership of dogs and other animals following impoundment or holding period, and adding Chapter 33, community cat program.
All right, is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Consideration possible action to approve the one-year renewal of the lease document in 62467-87-RP-00006 with the U.S. government for 15 acres of land located near Fair Park Boulevard, Harlingen, Texas, currently used by the Navy Operational Support Center for a term beginning January 1st, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022. Javier?
Yes, Mayor, City Commission. This request came from the federal government. They're requesting to renew the lease that we have with them for the 15 acres where they operate their reserve center. It's about 15 acres, and this is just catty corner to Launcie Hill Park. And so this would be for a period from January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. Staff's recommend approval.
Okay, anybody have any questions about the lease?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
All right, motion carries. Item 8, consideration and possible action to approve a request from Remy Garza, Cameron County Elections Administrator County, to use the Harlingen Cultural Arts Center, 575 76 Drive, as a polling place for the Democratic and Republican primary election. Early voting on the dates and times below: Monday, February 14th through Friday, February the 18th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday, February 19th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sunday, February 20th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Tuesday, February 22nd through Friday, February 25th, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yes, Mayor, City Commission, we had a request from from Cameron County, requesting the dates to use the Cultural Arts Center. Remy, I believe it's on the Zoom. If there's any questions for him?
Yeah, this is just for state and federal primaries. Is that what this is?
Yes.
Yes.
The state, federal, and county offices, parties are making their nominations for the November general election.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the request?
So moved.
I had a Question. I had a question for Remy.
Okay, well, we have a motion. Did anybody second it?
Oh, yeah, quick question. Remy, are these, I'm sorry, are these basically going to be the general hours for the election also in May as well?
Yes. The upcoming May election does have a countywide election attached to it because 2 constitutional amendments were approved during the special sessions that were to be for a special election to be held in May. Normally, the county does not utilize the Harlingen Cultural Arts Center during a constitutional election just because turnout is so generally low for those. But I think with the city elections occurring at the same time, it's probably going to be in the best interest of the voters to have both the Harlingen locations, if not more, open, given the possibility of the county administering the Harlingen city elections as well.
Okay, because I know I've been talking to Gabe, and I don't really want. Well, again, this is just my personal opinion. It's just I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I was hoping to use the convention center as one of the voting places for early voting and all that. Would that be possible?
Yes, I certainly think that any locations that the city leadership would like the Commissioners Court to consider, obviously, will be given a preference. But
I'm sorry. Can we do that in this case? Just not a lot of people know where the Cultural Arts Center is. I mean, I know it because my family's taking pictures there because it's a nice scenery, right? The yard's real nice and stuff. But I think the average vote. I mean, can we not use the? I think that's a good suggestion. Would we have to clear that to see if it's even available?
We checked with Stephen Vidal. He's got 3 galleries in the ballroom that we can use that are available. When we had checked with him about a week ago, there was nothing available for the entire election, but something happened that they freed up, so he's got some space now. Now, we would have to pay for that out of our own general fund.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it would increase, to your point, more turnout because more people know where the convention center is at.
Yeah,
it's got easier access.
Yeah, my point is I want to open it up. Like I mentioned earlier, I want to get as many polling places as we can because if I understand correctly, once you guys run the election, the county annex will be one of them automatically, correct?
yeah, that's the main one that's open in Harlingen. Whenever there's only one location opened in Harlingen, it's usually the Wilson Road Annex.
Okay, so say, for example, if we chose, again, this is me just thinking out loud, if we chose, say, for example, to have the convention center and maybe even City Hall.
Okay, are we talking about now this is about...
No, I understand it's about that, but I'm trying to, it's not very often that we get ready.
I think I think all these are good questions, but they're really not addressing the agenda item.
Well, Mayor, earlier you didn't mind when Mike brought up the paper and stuff. So,
okay, but I disagree.
Well,
I think what I would suggest.
Okay, it's not the May election is not on the agenda. What's on the agenda is the primary election. But
Yes, so
go ahead and ask your questions, Renee.
thank you, I appreciate that, Chris. My questions were. So we would be able to, like, say, for example, the county annex would be one, and then we'd be able to use, if we chose as a commission to vote for it, and we'd be able to use, say, City Hall and the convention center, correct?
Yes, those would be considered by the Commissioners Court. Although I think they would probably want to add the 2 locations and continue to use the Cultural Arts Center only because it's been used over several election cycles, and it is actually a very active site. It serves that part of Harlingen. So I wouldn't necessarily be recommending that it not be utilized, only because it is pretty popular when it's open.
So could we just add the convention center?
Commissioner, we just checked for the early voting for the May election. I didn't check the rest of these dates.
But that's my point. I mean, that was my question is, for this particular, I'm not, right now for what's on the agenda, to add the convention center as a site to vote for this.
Would that be possible to, for the primaries? Would we be able to add that?
That actually would help give people awareness that it's going to be a polling place, right? And so we start using it in the future.
Because I agree with Richard, the majority of people, the only reason I know where the Cultural Arts Center is, and of course I know where it is, but that's because my wife had her baby shower there a couple years ago. And that's the only reason why I know. And I've asked other individuals in Harlingen, where's the Cultural Arts Center? They're like, what? They don't know where it's at.
City Lake.
So I know that, I know where it's at now.
So the question is, can we use both, Gabe?
Well, Commissioner, I don't know that the convention center is available all these dates because we just checked for early voting for.
Can we just pass it contingent upon it being available?
I guess you could, but I'd have to check with the convention center.
And just get with Remy? It's just adding a site. I mean, it's his thing. I just suggest to increase voter turnout.
Right.
So just use that.
Commissioner, I think I should mention that the Commissioners Court on Tuesday discussed adding the Brownsville Event Center as an early voting site for the primary election. And in those discussions, we talked about approaching the city to see if that was going to be something you all were interested in as well. So it certainly is something that we can discuss, and if it's available and we're able to accommodate not only the events that are currently booked, but also the voters, it's something that we can look at, and understanding that we would be responsible for paying it, since it's the Commissioners Court that's responsible during early voting for primaries to cover the cost. We have at least until February 7th to make any final determination with respect to the locations of early voting sites. So it's a possibility. We will be glad to discuss it with the city leadership and the convention center about adding it as a polling site and then taking it to the Commissioners Court as well.
Okay, Remy, but
Last
do
question.
you want us to take action on this item tonight, and then
Yes,
do you want us to
think.
take action on this item tonight?
Yes, I think for the Cultural Arts Center is definitely a site that we would like to utilize for the primaries, because it's been used over several cycles.
So we can just pass it contingent upon you all agreeing to use it, and it's available, and it's available.
Well,
He's talking about the cultural arts.
That can be brought back. That can be brought back at the next meeting if it's available. But I think the county would like us to go ahead and move forward with approving this so that they know that they have this site available and that they can set their times.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
So moved.
Okay. I had a quick last question, Remy. I'm sorry, because I don't want to lose you. Last question. Are these the maximum hours available for voting?
The state legislature just changed the rules. They require counties for countywide elections to use them to have early voting for 9 hours a day as a bare minimum. But the times that they have is from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the evening. And so you can actually hold early voting from that start time to that end time, but at least 9 hours a day.
Okay, good. And it would be the same thing for the May election. So we can open it up for the people that work, and they can come here like 8 o'clock and stuff like that, correct?
You could request that, but bear in mind that this is because that constitutional election in May, the Commissioners Court ultimately are the ones that determine the hours of operations for the early voting sites.
Okay, can you stress to them from the city of Harlingen, at least for myself, I'm sure I speak for, I would hope the majority of us, that
Can we get back on this?
as many hours as
I would
possible.
like to get back on this
Thank you.
item because we can discuss the May election when we get that at the May election. I think we have a motion. Was there ever a second? We have a second. Is there any other discussion on this item, which is the primary voting site and times for the March primary? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 9, consideration of possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading amending the City of Harlingen's budget for fiscal year 2022.
Good evening, Mayor, City
Robert.
Commissioners. This is the ordinance for the first budget amendment of the fiscal year 2022 budget. The first budget amendment typically includes all of the encumbrance rollovers that were left over from 2021 into 2022. I've listed out in detail on the executive summary all of the encumbrance rollovers and the additional department requests on the executive summary. This budget amendment increases total revenues by $5,166,289 and total expenditures by $9,568,564. So if you turn to Exhibit A, our total revenues for 2022 will be $100,617,251 compared to expenditures of $107,532,647. And not included on this budget amendment is also a purchase of a fire truck. We did have a fire truck that burned down, and we did receive proceeds of $122,000. So for the second reading, we will be adding $500,000 for a fire truck.
And that would come out of the general fund, the fund balance, to pay for that. The fire chief desperately needs to replace that unit. He's down to a 20-year unit that he's using, so...
Weren't we going to reallocate money?
Well, yes, from the fund balance to actually, because all we got from TML for that was $122,500.
No, I was talking about the savings that I sat down with Robert and told him, okay, you've gone through so many months, you have some realized savings. We can't do, we budget X amount of dollars for a certain item, and we're definitely not going to spend that. Couldn't we just reallocate that to reduce the expenditure of our general fund?
We could, but we won't know that till we get the actual audit completed for the end of the year. We do know what we have in fund balance starting October 1st.
Right, so, and that's what I used, knowing the October, November, December figures, right? There's monies that weren't spent that we're not going to spend. We can reallocate that money because they're either in people that are no longer here, salaries that we're not going to use.
Yeah, we don't have enough, Commissioner, to cover that because we need.
No, I know we don't have enough. To cover
I think that.
But it's going to reduce the amount that you're going to move out of the general fund.
Do you know what that
any
number is?
expenditures that will come out, any savings that we have compared to the amount that we're going to pay for the fire truck is all going to come out of the general fund, if that answers your question. Like any savings that we have on payroll savings, any of that savings goes into the general fund. So if you allocate to that fire truck, it comes out of general fund.
And it'll go back in there at the end of the fiscal year. So whatever we take out will go back in if we were having any savings.
I just did what my understanding was that it just sat there and we didn't use it all year, right? Because everything's itemized, right? That you can't touch that money because it's in a designated fund.
Right.
You want to be able to move that money out and make sure you apply it so that it doesn't reduce your general fund.
Yeah, I could look to see the savings on the payroll savings.
What I would like to do is get authorization to take that $500,000 from the fund balance, and then if there's anything left at the end of the fiscal year, we can just put it back in through savings of what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions? Can we ask the city attorney to read the caption, please?
Yes, this was consideration of possible action to approve a request from Rima Garza, Cameron County Elections Administrator, County to use county cultural arts.
No, we're on
9, I'm sorry.
9.
Consideration of possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading amending the City of Harlingen's budget for fiscal year 2022.
Total budget revenues will increase to $100,617,251, and budget expenditures will increase to $107,532,647. Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Item 10, consideration of possible action to approve a resolution designating Frost Bank as depository of the City of Harlingen for safekeeping of securities, and to designate authorized persons to deposit securities, to withdraw, and otherwise deal with same, all pursuant to the provisions of safekeeping custody services agreement with Frost Bank.
So this is a request for a resolution to establish a safekeeping depository at our Frost Bank depository. This will allow our financial consultant to make trades of purchases of investments that are within our investment policy. Currently, we are just getting interest from Frost Bank and Tex Pool, which are very minimal. We get about 0.02% from Frost and about 0.034% from Tex Pool. So this will just help us get more earnings on our available cash.
So is there, you said our consultant or our investment?
Yeah, we have
advisor?
Hilltop Securities is our financial consultant.
Okay.
So they will direct the purchase and sale of the investments through that safekeeping. So the safekeeping account is just establishes a book entry system for tracking all of the securities that go through there.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
That consultant, Hilltop, do they handle all our money? I mean, do they basically handle like all our depositories and wherever all our money's at?
So they are just our consultant. All of our deposits are at Frost Bank and Tex Pool.
So does that include like the CDs and,
We have one CD with Texas Regional.
with who?
Texas Regional Bank.
No, but I guess the point I was trying to make is the people that do our oversight of our money.
Right.
Is the consultant, right?
Yes, Hilltop
And she
Securities.
has access to all of our accounts, and she knows where all the money's at, basically, right?
Yes.
And when she's advising you, she's.
Moving the money around.
Right,
Yes, that
okay.
is correct.
All right, so let me make sure.
So in her advising, that's Frost, Texas Regional, and is there anybody else?
Texpool.
Oh, Texpool,
Yeah.
okay.
Right, but this is just a depository for securities,
Yes, sir.
for other forms of
it's like
investments for the city's
To
money
take
rather
advantage
than
of better
having cash on
interest. That's
hand.
correct.
All right, is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I have point of order, please. I have one question here.
Sure.
Did you do any proposals for this at all?
Frost Bank is our depository, which we did go out for proposals about a couple of years ago, and it ends in 2024.
So basically, Frost Bank, that's it. We can't go outside Frost Bank until another 2 years, correct?
Until it's time for, until their depository contract ends, then we do go out for bids again.
When do we start with him? How long is the contract?
It ends in 2024.
Yes,
When did it start?
how long was it?
Oh, I think it's like 5 years. I think it started in 2019 to 2024.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Is there do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
Yeah, I made a motion to
Second.
approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Item 11, consideration of possible action to approve a resolution amending the Harlingen Downtown Improvement District Fund 2021-2022 fiscal year budget.
This resolution amends the budget of the Downtown Improvement District. It will increase the revenues to $327,763 and expenditures to $331,376. And this is an additional $60,000 for the expansion of the market days in downtown to the western part of Van Buren.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Any
Question.
Any
Yeah.
discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. So the city, some of these guys here voted to expand market days from the nonprofit that was running it. And so the city expansion is going to cost us $60,000. Was that the number I heard?
That is correct. Yeah.
In what time span?
I guess it's for 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the city will expend $60,000 for a year,
Right.
starting when to when?
I believe it's starting, it has already started, right?
Yes, it's already started. There will be some revenue coming in, Commissioners, because they do sell the booth space. Now, we won't cover all that expense, but we'll cover some of it.
Okay, and how much money has the city received from the booth space?
I don't have that
So
number,
far.
Commissioner. I'd have to go back and
I could get that for you.
Okay,
Why
yeah,
not?
I'd be curious. Thank
Will
you.
do. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, the motion carries. Item 12 are board appointments. Do we have any board appointments?
I have none.
I have none.
Any board appointments? All right, no board appointments. And staff's recommending that, or the city attorney's recommending we don't need to go into executive session any further on item 13.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll pass item 13, and that concludes the agenda. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Thank everyone for joining us tonight, especially if you're on Zoom or online. So, thank you very much. Good night.